Hi there, and welcome to the Cotswold Explorer. I'm Robin Shuckburgh, and we're back again at the wonderful Dancing Trousers Cookery School to see Alexis Thompson, who's going to teach me how to cook something else. This has been a great experience for me because every month I come back here and learn to cook a dish at the hands of one of the best teachers in the county. And then I find myself with much greater confidence cooking in my own kitchen. It's been a great experience. I'm not quite sure what she's going to teach us today. I have a feeling it may have some kind of Valentine's Day slant, as we're here at the beginning of February. Now, don't forget to subscribe to our channel on YouTube. It's free, of course, but it means that we'll let you know every time we put up something new. And you can follow me learning how to cook. Come with me. Right, Alexis, lovely to see you again.
And you, Robin.
Thank you very much for having me.
Welcome
I want
back.
to tell you, actually, because the confidence this has given me, you having lessons with you, has been amazing. I cooked Sunday lunch for my family yesterday. This is something I've never done before in my life, and it was just wonderful. We had a great time, and the food was delicious. Partly thanks entirely to you because of some of the courses I used were yours.
Well, I'm very pleased to hear it. And did you have a little time plan to work
I did
to?
the whole thing.
Good man.
Much mirth from the sort of much more professional.
Take no notice. Rise above it.
I will. No, it was
right.
great.
Well, I'm delighted. I'm delighted.
So we're at the beginning of February, and I have a suspicion you have Valentine's Day in mind.
I do, which is coming up quite shortly. And I thought it would be nice to do a little pudding to impress your beloved with. And it's got to be chocolate, really, hasn't it? Valentine's, it's got to be chocolate. So we're going to make a melting chocolate fondant. So one of those delicious little cakes that when you cut the middle open, it's all molten, the chocolate inside, so the lightest of crusts that's cooked and then lovely flowing chocolate inside.
I've seen people do this on cooking competitions and they always get it wrong.
Constantly.
So
yes, it is sort of the bête noire of MasterChef, let's name the beast. And I always slightly worry because Greg Wallace loves a chocolate fondant, and when people say, I'm making a chocolate fondant, and Greg says, oh, I hope it's melting in the middle, and then they cut it open and it's just a cake, and I sit there going, well, let's not hope that befalls us.
This is amazing.
I shall indeed. So we'll do our usual. We'll start with talking about all the ingredients that we've got. So we have got, in your bowl, we've got some softened unsalted butter and sieved icing sugar. We have got some lovely 70% chocolate, dark chocolate for this to give it a really sophisticated taste. And that is in the form of, these are called pistol, which is simply because we use it on a massive scale. I have great big sacks of it. It's like a big posh chocolate button. But at home, just buy a nice bar of a good quality dark chocolate and chop it up. You've got a couple of eggs, which we're going to separate because we need one whole egg and one yolk. And then in here, we've got just the smallest amount of flour and very good quality dark cocoa. So you can see that despite the fact this is a cake, it actually has very little by way of flour in it because actually everything else is doing the work for us. So
this is plain flour, is it?
This is plain flour. The very first thing you're going to do is prepare the moulds that we're going to cook it in. So these are called, these little fellas are called Dariel moulds, and they're rather pretty little domed moulds. And your first job is, I've got you in here a little bit of softened butter that's melted down. I'm going to do one bit for you, and what you're going to do is, using a brush, and you know I prefer an art brush to a pastry brush, you're going to do upwards strokes around the outside, a little bit in the middle as well. Then you're going to tip in the caster sugar, give it a good swirl round so the whole of the inside of the mould is coated, and tip the excess out. And if you're wondering why I'm making you do up upward strokes, it's because that will help the little pudding to rise as it cooks. It's the same reason you would do that with a souffle, that actually that helps draw the pudding up the sides.
Right. And such friction as there is alleviated by the fact that the lines are going upwards.
Exactly, yeah, so it's on a molecular level. You're getting a chemistry and a physics lesson all in one.
I'm very impressed. This is very exciting. Okay, so upwards like that.
Upward strokes, yeah.
And all the way to the top.
All the way round, all the way to the top. A little bit in the bottom as well. That's it.
I can see already that if I don't get this right, it's going to be entirely my fault.
No pressure. That's it. That's it, lovely. And now cast the sugar in from that little container at the back.
Right.
I tip all of that into the mould, tip the whole lot in, yeah. And now swirl it round over the container, exactly.
Sort of like
You've
that.
got it, yeah, that's it, until it's all coated and glistening. Tip the excess out.
Yes, I can see there's some gaps, but that shows up the gaps of the butter. There you are.
That will do you nicely. Right, so you've got your eye in doing the first one, so we'll do the second one. And we're ready to go. And then there's one last thing that we'll do, but I'll wait until you've got this one done before I reveal that. So these are not non-stick. So the reason we're doing this is twofold. One, the sugar will actually create a very pretty crusting on the outside of the pudding, which looks slightly sparkly and very attractive. And two, this will help get them out of the tin.
Yes,
so
I see.
That's the reason.
Because they're quite fragile, aren't they? Because they're soft in the middle.
They are. They're very delicate because the outside that's cooked really is quite thin. So we need them to slip out with ease, which I'm sure they will.
I'm sure we'll make.
And if they haven't, it's entirely your fault.
Well, I
no pressure.
I can tell that. I can see the pain coming in my direction already.
It's fine.
This makes eminent sense. That's. There we go.
Lovely.
Right,
now, the very last thing we're going to do is use this strange-looking can over here.
Yes, I'm intrigued by
which is called Deco Mould. Now, fear not. This is a product that's used in restaurants and in professional kitchens, which is why we've got it here. But you can buy in the shops exactly the same product that's called cake release spray.
Right.
And it's what a lot of people use when baking to spritz over the inside of a cake tin and make it non-stick.
Right.
This is exactly the same stuff, only much more expensive.
Okay,
so what you're going to do, and I'm going to stand clear in case you use it like hairspray, is from a bit of a distance, give it a good shake, Robin, hold this tin at a reasonable distance from yourself and give it one spritz. This is just belt and braces to get these out.
Okay.
So we're just giving it an extra spray. That's it. Perfect. Okay. Absolutely perfect. There we go. That's number one done. And number two. Perfect. There we go. Lovely stuff.
Nice
so
spray.
Your work on prep is done. We're going to get on with the actual making of the pud now.
Right.
Now you're going to multitask. We haven't really done this before, but you've got to do more than one thing at once. The first thing we're going to do is melt our chocolate pistole, and because the chocolate is on its own in the bowl, we're not adding anything else to it. We're going to do it over some simmering water to make sure we're in control. This happens nice and slowly, and there's no danger of the chocolate overheating. Because if you overheat chocolate, it splits and you end up with an oily layer on top and it looks like tarmac underneath and you have to throw it away. It's game over.
Okay.
So I am going to get a little bit of heat going underneath that. Meanwhile, you are going to, first of all, with our softened butter and icing sugar, before we get the electric beaters on it, I want you to just by hand get them a little bit incorporated. This is purely practical. If we put the beaters on it now,
it'll go all over.
It'll go everywhere.
Because it's very powdery.
It's very powdery. It's very light. You and I will end up looking like Casper the Friendly Ghost,
which might be funny.
Which might be funny, but it doesn't help with the cooking. So I'm going to get this on for you, and we won't have it terribly high. We'll get that water heating up.
Right. That's known as a bain-marie, isn't it?
It is indeed, yes, exactly that. And sometimes you would use that in an oven. So if, say, we might do creme brulee one day, and you bake them in a roasting tin with water in, so that it's an indirect method of cooking. It's very gentle. That's perfect. Like that. That's nicely incorporated. Exactly so, sir. Now, before we start beating that with the electric beaters, let's get our eggs ready. So we need an egg yolk and a whole egg.
Okay.
So
in separate bowls.
Well, eventually they're going to end up together, but I'm going to get you an additional bowl in case you're missing a bowl. So
right. Okay.
Let's get you a couple of additional bowls. And you can put the shell in one of these as well. So look, you've got more bowls than you can shake a spatula at. There we go. So we start with the whole one. Oh, okay. No, I'm interfering. You can. You've done it. You've done it. That's perfect. Lovely. Okay, great technique. Lovely. So pop that yolk in over there.
Right.
Lovely. Shell into one of those, and now all you need to do is add a whole egg to that.
To the same one.
To the same one.
Okay.
That's it.
So we just got a double yolk.
Yeah. There we go. And I will take the egg white away, and we'll keep that. We'll put that in the fridge with all the others. That's perfect. Okay. Right. So you are now going to move from that spatula to that electric beater.
Right.
It's only a small quantity because we're making enough for a romantic twosome.
Right. Perfect.
So 2 puds, and start it on low speed, and we're waiting for it to get really moussey and light in colour. Okay, so it won't take more than a minute or 2. Now we're going to pour out another spatula. Yeah, that's coming together really quickly. Click it up a speed, you can go, that's it. I think that's not going to need more than about 30 seconds more, Robin. That looks great. Yeah, that'll do. Beautiful. Oops. Yeah, lovely. No, that's fine. Lovely. So, meanwhile, over here, the chocolate starting to soften, starting to just melt, and I will keep an eye on that for you. Right, okay. When you're doing this, I'm going to show Ross the lens what's going on in there. Not too much water, because it can bubble up over the sides, and you can end up with bits of water in here, which also you really don't want. That can cause the chocolate to split as well. Right. Okay. Right. That looks lovely. I would suggest scrape it down off the sides because it's not a huge quantity. Get it into the middle. And then, with the marvellous magic whisk your eggs together in their little bowl over there. Right. Oh, this is a nice little whisk. They're natty, aren't they? Yeah. I like them because when you're whisking together small quantities, you don't want a great big balloon whisk. These are also called sauce whisks. Right. So if you were making, say, a cheese sauce or a bechamel or something like that, it's perfect because you can pop it in the pan, and because it's spiral, it won't hurt the bottom of a non-stick pan. No, right. So they're very useful little implements. I like look at that. I'm not sure I've ever seen one before. Ah, well, we may have to... This is just a question of putting these together. Yes, lightly combine them. And then you're going to have to be dexterous now, Robin, because you are going to gradually add the eggs to this whilst the beaters are going. Oh, right. Okay, so it's rubbing your tummy and patting your head. Yes, you're doing it all at the same time. Yes, I've never been very good at that, but I will do my best. Sure you'll be fine. Just a little at a time, not too much. Right, get that incorporated before you come back for the next bit. Right. Did I put a bit too much in? Yeah, it's fine though. Just allow it to become incorporated. The reason we do this is if you add it all at once, the mixture can look rather curdled and it can affect the final batter. Yeah, okay. That's lovely. You can go for the next bit. I see what you mean by the curdly look. It does. It sort of goes as if it's. It rectifies itself as long as you don't put too much in at once. Yeah, which I seem to be managing to avoid. That's it. A little bit more. That's it, last bit in, perfect. That's it, done, grand. Lovely, so click it up a speed, just give it a little burst on the banjo, as I say, the last little effort, that's it. Lovely, and now turn your beaters off. Grand. Now, I'm actually going to show you a little something which is a useful thing to know, which is when you're doing that and you think, oh, I've finished, and people tend to keep the beaters in there and turn it off and then go, oh, look, I've got quite a lot left on the beaters. So what I'll do is I'll clang it on the side of the bowl. This is a glass bowl. Yeah. And if you clang it, there is the possibility that you will take tiny little chips out of the top of the bowl. So the way to overcome that is just as you're finishing, gently lift the beaters, still going, out of the mixture.
Yeah.
Allow it, centripetal force, to spin off, which is why you don't lift them up here because you redecorate the kitchen. Keep it low, and that does the job for you.
Brilliant.
Job done, Robin. That's lovely. So using your spatula, let's scoop that lot down into the main part of the bowl.
Yes, it's becoming easier to manage, actually.
Yes.
It's lighter and not quite so sticky.
Now, here is your chocolate, which melted beautifully, and as you can see, it's got a lovely smooth and very shiny look to it, so we know that that's good to go. If something's gone wrong, it won't look like that. It will look rubbly and odd.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid there's no saving it. You go back and get some more chocolate. Okay. So, what I would like you to do, and I know you washed your hands because you're very good,
always do,
is just stick your little finger in there to see how hot it is.
Right, okay.
You can lick that. You're allowed. How warm would you say that was?
It's sort of tepid.
Tepid is fine because obviously that's been heated over some simmering water. If it's really raging hot still and you're putting it into a mixture that's got quite a lot of egg in,
it'll cook it.
Exactly right. You could end up with chocolate scrambled eggs, which, let me tell you, is not a recipe any Valentine's lover will be impressed by. So again, I'm going to ask you to get your beaters, put them on low speed. I will assist you this time round. I'm going to pop a little bit in and you're going to mix it round as we go.
Okay.
So beaters in, off we go.
Oops, sorry.
Right, oh, look, I've made a mess. Right, you keep mixing. I'm going to get the last bits out, the last knockings.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to say it's not a huge quantity that we're making, so we don't want to waste any of this. Right, you move to that side, I'm coming in here. There we go. This is teamwork, Robin. Here we go.
Absolutely. And because chocolate doesn't pour that well, you almost need two people, but of course...
There we go, right.
One doesn't have that.
Perfect. And can I say, this is an example of why the silicone spatula is such a good thing, because it gets right into the corners, gets every last bit of chocolate out. Oh, look, there's even a little bit left there. Right, I reckon that's good. Right, beaters off. Lovely job.
Oh, let me just do that again.
That's it, and off. Lovely. Right, use the chocolatey one. What we'll do is, I'll scrape that last little bit off there. Waste not, want not. That's always our watchword.
Certainly.
Same again, scrape it down off the side, sir.
Right.
And we have just one last thing to do, which is we are going to fold in carefully our little bit of flour and cocoa.
Right.
I'm going to give you a sieve to do this with, not because there are any lumps in that mixture, because these days flour is very finely milled. This is really just to combine them efficiently.
Oh, right, okay.
So if you would like to tip that in there, whole lot in at once, that's absolutely fine. Tap it using the side of your hand to get it into the mixture. That's it.
Like that?
That's it, exactly like that. And then fold it in with your silicone spatula.
Right.
And we may put the beaters back on it just for a second to really make sure it's combined. But again, just like this to start with, lest it should...
This is a folding exercise rather than a sort of beating on the holes.
Do you know what? This is not about air, because we're not putting egg whites into it. So actually you can be reasonably robust with this. That's fine.
Right.
And you can see that this last addition takes it from quite a pale colour to a much more chocolatey, deep colour.
Absolutely.
And once you're confident that that's reasonably well combined, I would, for one final time, put your electric beaters in.
Right, okay.
And they will. It really won't need more than...
Not supposed to do that.
No, that's fine. That's wooden. That's wooden. You're fine. So let me hold that for you.
Thanks.
Pop them in. I would say 15 to 20 seconds, no more. Certainly won't need any more. Lovely. That looks great. So are you happy with that mixture?
That looks wonderful.
Yep, so one last spin and then lift your beaters, that's it. Perfect. Lovely. Right, the moment of truth. So,
sort of thing, when a child, I would now say, can I taste it, please?
Yes, well, we may do that without Ross looking. Right, okay, so what we're going to do is fill our little Dariel moulds, and I'm going to give you a spoon to do this. To be honest, If you were very concerned about keeping this tremendously neat, you could put that into a piping bag. You wouldn't need to put a nozzle on the end. You could just snip the piping bag and then squash it. But you know what? We can use a spoon and all will be well.
Yes,
so if I move you slightly to the side, I think these should be no more than 3/4, 2/3, whichever you prefer full.
Right.
As you put it in, Robin, I would say use your little finger, which is the greatest implement in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So take a spoonful, pop it in with your little finger.
Right, okay.
Put a decent spoonful in the first one, then do the second one, because the danger is otherwise you overfill one of them.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's exactly right. You didn't catch the sugar on the side as you went down. You did that beautifully.
Right,
So now do mould number 2. So it's a very soft mixture. So in it goes, little finger. And then back for another spoonful to the first one. Grand.
Oop.
Oh, that's all right. That should be all right. Same again for number 2. Now, this mixture is a very generous 2 portions.
Yes, I can see that.
You know, it might even make 3, but it certainly makes 2. I think both of these can have at least a half spoonful more in.
Right. Okay. Just going to move that.
Yes, that's fine.
There we go.
That's it. Lovely. And same again for that one. Ah, that's perfect. That's worked out very well.
Pretty much used exactly the right amount.
And then what you can do is just gently give them a little tap, just to get a little bit of level on them. And this will help you see. Actually, I think that one could do with a tiny bit more. He looks a little bit meaner than the first one, so let's pop a little bit more in. That's great. There we go.
Perhaps a little bit of that.
Yes, no, that won't do any harm. As I say, it's not a souffle mixture, it's a cake. It's a very, very rich cake mixture, so it won't hurt to do that at all.
Right. There's a little bit in here.
Go on, let's
use
it up. Let's use it up. And if you want to use the silicone spatula to scoop it off, feel free, which you've popped over there.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be perfect, actually. It's going to be just right for 2 really generous
Looks ideal to me.
There we are.
Right,
Lovely.
Great stuff.
Okay, so these...
some for the kids.
Indeed, yes. Feel free to lick your finger. These take a very short while to cook because we want that inside to be molten. So it's 8 minutes. That's all they're going to take at 170 degrees fan. So it's a reasonably coolish oven, a medium oven, as they'd say in old money, and just 8 minutes. And trust me about 8 minutes, because when you look at them, when we get them out, you're going to think, well, that's not cooked.
Yeah, okay.
Trust me. So we'll do some magic while I put these into the oven.
Right, okay. Now, I'm intrigued by this, actually, because I kind of imagined when I'd seen the final result of these things that the chocolate was in some way separate, because it looks like runny chocolate in the middle. So this is actually quite intriguing.
Yes, there are methods of making fondants which involve you making a little ball of chocolate ganache which you push into the middle. That's quite complicated and involves a whole other set of cookery, whereas this, I think, is a simpler method. I mean, you've seen that. It was very quick to do, wasn't it?
It was fantastic.
So the proof of the pudding, as they say. So let's pop this in the oven and we'll come back in 8 minutes.
Okay.
Right, Robin, it's gone off, the peeper's gone off, so this oven here, let's get the puds out.
Right.
Mind your hands, your arms, everything else, and that's your heat-proof mat straight onto there.
Very exciting, look at those.
Those look very beautiful. Lovely.
Touch your beautiful table.
No, they're on a heat-proof silicone mat. Now, they've risen up beautifully. We are going to turn them out fairly quickly because the point of this, obviously, is that the middle is molten. So the longer you leave them in their containers, the longer they go on cooking, because that little pot will now be really, really hot. That metal container, it is, yeah. So this is a thing where you can make the batter ahead of time, make that at the beginning of the day, and then have it in the pots, ready to go, into the oven for 8 minutes and bring it straight to the table, which is rather lovely. Yeah. So the way that you're going to do this is we need to do the great plate trick for this one. Right. So you are going to, with an oven glove, because they're super hot, is get hold of this first one, put it in the middle of that plate. So very carefully. Do you want more than one of it? Yes, go on, that's it. Go around the sides. So it stays this way up. Onto there. Perfect. Now, you are going to invert this plate on top of it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. On it goes. And then fingers on the plate underneath, and you're going to alley up the whole thing. That's it. Pop it down.
Right.
Lovely. Plate off. Now, if you prepped this correctly, all will be well. No pressure. So use that one, and now very gently see if that will come away.
Oh, hang on. Oh, turn that around.
Now, don't do that.
Don't do that? Okay.
Because if it's resisting, what I would do is put this back on top and just give it a little thing like that. Because the danger is if you just keep banging that, it'll come rushing out, and then you'll just break the whole thing.
Okay, so it needs to slide, and my prep clearly didn't work properly.
Well, let's have another go. I think it did.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, you see, look at that. Right. Beautiful. Ooh, quite warm. Now, acid test. Cut into it. Let's see if this is molten in the middle. So go for it. Go for it.
Oh goodness, it clearly is. It feels wonderful. Look at that.
Look at that.
Absolutely
that
beautiful.
is what you're after. So, with a little scoop of vanilla ice cream would be delicious. I think you ought to try a bit.
I think we
It's your
both
pudding.
Let's have a go, and then we'll.
And I'm going to make you turn the second one out as well. So, have a little go. Don't burn yourself.
That is wonderful. It's rich. It's not too sweet.
No, it's not, is it? Yes. Right, come on, we're going to do this second one. I'm convinced you'll get the second one out. The only reason it's very slightly more difficult than it would be usually is we did fill these quite high. Remember I said normally it would come slightly lower than that. So that one onto there. Yep, that's it.
I'm still prepared, quite happy to take the blame for
No, you did it beautifully. There was nothing wrong with the way you did it. That's it. On it goes. Right.
Broad shoulders, you know.
Plate over the top. That's it. Over we go. Okay.
Nice. Now,
see how we go.
Let's try again. Try just lifting it.
Oh, there we go. Come
it's
on,
not bad.
Textbook. Right, just to prove, let's do that one as well.
Okay.
Ross might want a little spoonful.
I'm sure
so
Ross would
so let's just make sure. There we go. Look at that. Greg Wallace would be very happy.
Wouldn't he be a happy chap?
Wouldn't he be a happy chappy? Melting chocolate fondants, done beautifully, Robin. Well done.
Absolutely fantastic. And thank you very much, Alexis. That's wonderful.
Pleasure.
I'm going to look forward to doing this. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Well, goodness me, that was fun. I'm full of chocolate. It was absolutely delicious. It's rather amazing to make something that I've seen go so wrong on television in competitions before. But that chocolate fondant is really worth knowing how to do. I've had a lovely time. Now, don't forget to get in touch with us on Twitter at Cotswold Explore. You can find us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for free, and we'll keep you posted on what we put up. It's been nice to see you. See you again next month.